Is Yona in?
YouTube
What's
says we're
not?
live. Thank you for joining us on Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom, number 236. I'm your host, Greg Gaub. The gang is all here with Gio and Lenny and Wayne and Don and Luff and John and Jeremy and Dennis and Mike and Garth and other people. Let us converse about our cars that go in slots. I have some show and tell to share, which I'm going to start off with. If anybody has any show and tell or anything they want to get on the show before because you got to leave early or something, holler at me. Otherwise, I'm just going to blaze through my show and tell after I do the necessary switching and sharing. Okay, so you hopefully are able to see what I'm currently sharing, which is I got the car from Geo. You've already seen this, but I figured I'd take some glamour shots for you. Beautiful car, just like we saw before. He did my custom racing number, and he did a blue and yellow driver dude, and he, got interior stuff in there. Fantastic. I'm super happy with it. Thank you very much for doing such a great job, Geo. And it runs like butter. You did a great job on the tires, front and rear. We raced it for King of the Hill at my analog racing on Monday, and everybody was suitably impressed. And I did not yet broach the topic of having this as a series. I figured I'd let them play with it a bit before because they're expensive cars. But yeah, everybody loved it and was very impressed by the paint job. It's funny, even after so many times of me telling them I hate painting cars, I will always let somebody else do my cars for me. Anytime I show them a car that somebody else did, it's no, it's not mine. They still ask, "Did you do that?" I'm like, "Fuck no. This is somebody who enjoys it and knows how to do it, and I I properly reimburse them for their time and expenses." This is a fantastic car. Another friend did this one for me. I think I showed the preliminary shots a week or two ago. This is the BRM 124th scale Porsche 911 Evo. Because at Alan's 24-hour race, he ran some sprint races, which I participated in, and I needed a car of this class. And he was willing to redo his fantastic job that he did for me on my MR slot car, Porsche 911 Evo, in this blue and yellow Marlboro style livery. And he went quite crazy with everything as well. And apparently, my ad blocker is wanting to brag about itself. I hate that thing. Okay. So beautiful, fantastic job. He actually takes it to an automotive paint shop to do a super deep polyurethane clear coat. Beautiful, beautiful results. And what I really wanted to show off was, you can't really see it there. I tried to take a picture of the interior. He's got dial indicators and everything on there, and you can see he did blue and yellow outfit for the driver, but he went even crazier, and you can kind of see it here. There's a face. There's a face decal on the helmet. I think I got a better picture later on. Yeah, you can kind of see his eyes and nose there. Friggin' awesome. I love it. That's a little bit better. Not too much reflection. I took the car apart actually, hoping that I'd be able to see more of the interior, but it's properly glued in place to the body, so wasn't going to break that apart. Come on. Again, very nicely done. I'm very happy with it. New style chassis. All right, that's
Pretty
the
fancy
corner shop.
chassis. Nice.
What's that?
Pretty fancy chassis these days.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is the motorbot.
Wow.
Oh, it's because they have this pop-off body situation, so the screw heads go through grommets,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the whole chassis pops off, and I guess they wanted to make that part of the rear as well. It runs great. Unfortunately, which I'll talk about later, and is my fault entirely, I had some difficulties at the race that ran in, but I'll talk about that later. So, moving on. Gio's got his hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm glad that the car arrived safe and sound, and it's still working. So that's
Very
a
well
plus.
packaged.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there was a bit of problem with sending over from New Zealand to the US, so that was without tracking. So basically, I was ready to buy.
The funny thing is that there was tracking. There was a number assigned to it, an international tracking number assigned to it, which I was informed of through the USPS, which has this thing called informed delivery. Anything that comes to my address, I get a notification about. And if it's a package, I get updates of the whole process. So I got notified that it would be arriving in 2 days, last Monday or Tuesday, saying that it was expected on Thursday. And I'm like, sweet. Was not delivered on Thursday. So I'm like, fuck. And then I get another notice saying it's going to be delivered on Saturday. And I'm like, sweet. Fortunately, it was actually delivered on Saturday, but it did have me worried there for a minute because basically, as soon as it entered the United States, there was no more tracking. It just said when it expected to arrive at my house.
Okay.
So it was a little bit, I've been through this before with shipping packages to the States and other countries. So I was definitely prepared to be patient for a little while longer before I started freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, being patient, not a big deal. It was like, because it wasn't on tracking, I wasn't sure whether it was gonna make it. In fact, as I told you, I was already looking for buying another white kit in order to get to. I think I'm gonna buy white kit anyway because I think I like them. So, and I also like painting them because I think they look really great. Anyway,
yeah.
So glad that you like it. Glad that also you already raised it and the other guys test it. You say it's expensive. Yes, they're expensive, but the nice thing is that you don't need anything else. So, what you get from the box, actually, you raise it. I mean, what I did was gluing the tires and through them. But as I mentioned to you before, we raise on our Scalexi truck without throwing anything, and gluing anything, and they still go well. Anyway, so moving on. So this is like a build that I've completed last week, I think. So it's for a Ferrari 488 GT3. Livery is from Maranello Motorsport, and this is a pretty old car. So it's winner of Bathurst in 2017, 12 hours, which is one of my favorite race, only because it starts in the night, which is or early morning, which is kind of different from many other races that in GT3 that I've seen. And what else? I mean, so it's as you might know, so it's sideways car, and before I do anything with the car, I start looking at the weight of the different components. So you have the main body with all the bits and bolts, which it's not bad out of the box. So it's 14 grams or a bit over 14 grams. The interior is a beast. I mean, 9 grams. I mean, it's huge, well detailed, but it's kind of a lot of weight to take up in the higher part of the car. It has a very nice detailed engine compartment, which is visible in this car. I expect with the 296 coming up that there's gonna be no interiors for the engine because I think it's covered. And already I've seen, I mean, there are already pictures of the Lexan interior for that car that has only the first part. I mean, the cockpit with the driver, so no engine compartment. So which I think that car is gonna be even more competitive than this. So then here to couple picture BD and AD, so before Dremel and after Dremel. So I managed to bring the car down to the body to 7 grams. which some commented that is like a Lexan kind of level, and it is. I mean, the roof is super, super thin. And also you can see some of the damage that the Dremel did from the inside, if you look very, very closely. So there were a bunch of modification that I want to do to the car. So you can see here the car next to his Evil Cousin. This is the TA1, the Area 71 3D model that have I mean, it's ready to be decaled, but I really have to spend a bit of time. But what I used as this car as kind of a template was for the fog lights or extra lights that the car has. So this one, I think the one from TA is the Evo 2, I think, while the Sideways is the older version of one of the first generations, which I don't think had all those fog lights. I mean, there's a 4 in stuff. So basically, I kind of took the templates and then I started drilling holes. Then I moved on into painting. So I usually don't do that, but because the car was so thin, I didn't want to have too much bleeding lights through. So I first went for a cover for gray primer, Tamiya gray primer, and then I sprayed with red from SMS, which is I think it's Australian brand of paint, and it's very thin, ready basically to spray in the air with the airbrush. It's very, very nice. They have some very nice colors. So this was I think Italian red or red Maranello. I don't remember exactly, but it's a Ferrari red. And after I sprayed the red, then I masked for the black that this car has, so the roof and the vents. And here you have also the decals from Milan. So these are MTR 32. I got these decals a long time ago, and what I was planning to do one of the Black Arrow 458, which was not the actual car, but I was saying, if nobody's gonna make it, then I'm gonna use that one of those bodies. I'm glad that I waited. Anyway, so next, basically, here's the car in different kind of stages of completion. So most of the decals went okay. Some of them, I would say they're a bit bigger than what they should be. And I decided also to use the standard glass or the one that come from the kit instead of going for Lexan ones, because I think it add, especially the front and rear window, add some extra rigidity that is needed for the roof that is very, very thin. So here are some beauty shots with the car sitting on my red testing block. I have modified the rear exhaust systems or pipes that, the one from the kit are really bad. So I just kind of drill the holes and put in some thinner heat strings. So I look a bit more kind of similar to the actual car. I also added some braces on the rear engine, on the engine compartment that are on the actual car. And the interior space, it's my it's like some or kind of vacuum formed one that I made from the actual the one comes from the kit. And then, for these fog lights, you see that they, especially these one on the edge, are really kind of tricky. So I kind of use some transparent plastic corner thing in order to try to cover them. It's a bit of a hack job, but once the lights are on, you cannot really see much. So here it's what's inside. So as you know, I raise oxygen, so this is a bit too cheap. And the motor is one of the standard Baby Raptors that come with the car, but this is one of the old ones that I had laying around that already was run in. Most of the so all the mechanic component almost kind of stock. The only things that I change is the axles that are slotting plus titanium ones, and I also use I think this is a Mito one or Sigma 12 teeth pinion, which mesh well with the 28 spur gear. The pod is one of those carbon fiber, I think, from a slotted one with the 1 millimeter offsets, which are now very hard to find. I don't know why they've disappeared.
I've noticed that, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know either. So, and one of the things that I never have used before, but I did for this build, is to use the plastic NSR front wheels, which are super light, and yeah, they also don't look too bad, let's say. What else? Nothing major. I mean, it's pretty standard. The rest.
Put the kit inserts inside those wheels, the spoke inserts.
Say again.
I presume that you've put the spoke inserts from the kit into the front wheels.
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the inserts from sideways require a bit of work because otherwise they would protrude too much from the wheel. And so I just to thin the edges, and they fit pretty well in both the front and rear NSR wheels. I mean, the rear here are also NSR wheels, aluminum ones. So this is the overall interior. So I didn't put too many LEDs. I mean, I think it's my standard 15 LEDs, I would say. So the weight of the final body with all details, it's only 16 grams. And the overall weight for the car with the chassis included is 80 grams, 0.5. So I think average okay. So there is no extra weights that I added. As you can see, also I changed the guide, going for one of those universal slotting plus. That I kind of trimmed the shape. Yeah, so kind of pretty standard. And then the light show. So kind of, so I mean, nothing kind of was out of the ordinary, let's say. Put the double LEDs, wide LEDs on the side for the for lighting up the number. Then the rest are standard LEDs, most of them. One thing that I changed, especially I think you can see in the lower part here, instead of putting in the plastic front grille piece, I used some metallic mesh, and so I could put behind it a blue LED strip, flexible strip, so that can shine through the front grille. Yeah, and then I put another one on the rear engine compartment here, which also helps with a bit of visibility of the car, and looks pretty good on the track. And yeah, with this basically, yeah, that's also this is another one done in dust that goes pretty well. And what I'm thinking maybe to build another one to take to the Suzuka GT3 race in January, or build something that could be competitive enough. And I've not raced the car yet because yesterday we didn't have enough people to race it, so it's not kind of race proof, but I did some kind of preliminary test, and it's pretty. I mean, it's in a good space, let's say, with a good time reference for going the 5.5 seconds. I would say that is a quick lap during the race that we have, or quickest lap that we have during race on my track. And the car, it's also very easy to drive. So let's see how it goes then when I have my kind of track open for racing in a couple of weeks, actually.
Very
That's all.
nice. Who doesn't like a Ferrari? Eh?
Yeah, that's the thing. They look pretty good, actually. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for sharing. Dennis, you ready?
Yep.
Hit it.
I've got an update on the work I was doing on that car that I showed you guys last week. I finished it today. So this is it. It's a fine design AC A98 coupe from the modeled after the car as it ran at the 1964 Le Mans test days. So it's the day of the testing that they do. I think it's in May before the race. And so they had these numbers on it. And so this is what it looked like when it was done. There's a couple of shots. I have actually covered it with a semi-matte clear rather than a full-blown clear, because I don't know that it would look right with a paint job that looks 100 feet thick, you know. But I think it came out pretty well.
Yeah, the first shot, when I first glanced at it, my initial reaction was that it was a real car.
Oh, okay.
Then I saw the slots.
This one, yeah. Then you saw the slots, yeah.
Look at that.
Okay.
That's-
Well, thank you, Greg. The check's in the mail.
Looks great.
But yeah, that was it. So on the underneath is one of these thingies, which is one of the Michael Nemus BR chassis, but a specific one that was made for this particular body. And basically what he did was he made up an adapter plate of carbon fiber that mounts the motor and mounts the motor in the trunk so that you have space for the full interior. And as much as I could get of the interior, it's really, really nice. It's a full driver, full passenger seat, very lovely steering wheel with the little AC decal that goes in the middle of it, with that beautiful instrument panel with the metal etched front to it, where you paint it black and then scrape away the paint around the edges of the holes, and then there's a decal behind it that has the actual markings of whatever instrument that is or whatever gauge it is. So you get all of that from the outside. Everything down to tire decals, all the way to little things like here above the number 4 at the back, a little light for number illumination, those kind of things. A little hood, a little trunk latch. The weird part about it is it's got the trunk latch, but it doesn't have door handles. So I don't know. Maybe the car didn't have door handles. I have no idea. Maybe you could
No,
only
it did
open it
not.
from the. And then it had these funny latches on the side here to take the front tip off. Anyway, so that's the car. I'll stop that share.
Mike said it didn't have door handles.
There
Maybe
it is.
maybe like an old MGA where you reached in and pulled a cord.
Yeah, you reach in and pull the little cable inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the car, guys.
Interesting.
And,
I couldn't.
Beautiful.
so
I couldn't
that's
see
going
the photo
to
as
be
before.
that's going to be delivered to its customer to the customer tomorrow, and we'll let you know how it is received.
He's not amazed. I'll come down there and beat his ass.
Very, very nice, Dennis. Very
It looks nice, doesn't it? I think it's come
Yeah.
out pretty well. Yeah, but whether
And
I would pay
I
$600
believe the
for it.
real car was responsible for Britain putting speed limits on their major highways, because when the car was being developed, they used to test it on the M1 and it got
Okay.
pulled over. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they instituted speed limits because of that car. Yeah.
Okay. It's quite interesting how it precedes the Cobras, and it precedes the Cobra Coupe by a ways, but it has a very similar look to it.
Oh, so what's it called again?
It's an AC A98. So it comes from the AC car company, who were the guys who provided the AC Ace, which when it got a Ford 289 and it became a Cobra. And then the Cobra Daytona came later than that again, when they were trying to work out how to get 200 miles an hour at Le Mans, which they couldn't get out of an open car, and so they came up with
well, Pete Brock said that the original AC Roadster had all the aerodynamic properties of a brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't far wrong, but I think this car, whoever did the styling on this thing did a really nice job, and kind of like the little streaks along the sides above the wheel arches, kind of reminiscent of a 3L,
yeah.
300
Yeah.
SLR. But yeah, very nice car. And a nice kit to build, actually. It went together very nicely. And apart from my initial error of using the wrong primer and having to take all the primer off again.
Okay, but I have to ask, with all the photo etch parts, did you have any left over? Because if you didn't, then you're fine.
I had one part left over, but I think it may have been something that's intended for another version of the car or something, because it's a grill that doesn't fit anywhere on this car, and it doesn't go in the front.
Maybe the kit's like IKEA, where they give you just some extra fasteners just in case.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah. There was a couple of
absolutely gorgeous.
A couple of panics when I was cutting the pieces out of that strip of metal edge stuff. When you start dropping them,
yeah.
Some of them are so small. The little buckles and clips on the driver's harness. That damn harness took me like 40 minutes to assemble, because they give you these three little metal etched parts, the two adjusters for the shoulder straps, and then the single center buckle, right? And then they give you a length of what looks like shoelace, flat shoelace, woven shoelace, and then you've got to cut and feed it through and bend it over and glue it and get it in place. It took a bit of time.
Oh, well, it's a good thing it's 1/24th scale and not 1/32.
True, true. Yeah, I don't know that I would want to do that. And everything, it has this nice little, even through the back window, that you can see the molded spare wheel. And
sorry to interrupt, Dennis, but what did you end up using to secure the clear bits in the body?
Some of that crystal glue we were talking about last time.
Right, the microscale crystal clear.
The microscale one, yeah.
Yeah,
that'll it worked well. But then, on top of that, they provide you with a decal that goes around the front window, and another one that goes around the rear window. You could probably see it there, because it has all the little silver rivets on it around the rear, and then the side windows have a metal edge piece which you paint black. So that helps to disguise the edges of the windows a little. The weird part is that there's nothing provided for the edges of the headlight covers.
Oh.
But anyway, there it is.
Does the
owner, you don't want to go crazy,
or does he just does he actually race those, or does he just do?
The guy who commissioned it from me, he doesn't race them. He has a track at home and he plays with them at home. He's got a couple of them now. Well, in fact, more than a couple of Michael Niemus chassis under either Scale Auto bodies, or this one is, I think, his first foray into the fine design stuff. But yeah, anyway.
Very nice.
Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. All right, go ahead, Mr. Kit.
Oh, Oh, okay. Well, I mean, nothing like that. I just wanted to sort of update you folks. I ended up getting Mark's figure or a bunch of Mark's figures from that toy show I went to. And so I thought I'd show, and these were from the Mark's Untouchables play set, and they're really well sculpted, bang on 1/32 scale. So I got some 1/32 scale die cast cars that were appropriate for the era just to take a look. And then I just had to get the rest of the set. I just had to. And what's really cool is that in typical 60s fashion, you know, they basically have lots of firearms and figures that unfortunately got in the way of the firearms.
I wondered why they all had hats on. That's because they're all gangsters. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Was this a Chicago company or what?
No, well, Lewis Marks, I think, was in Chicago. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And then of course this poor guy. I mean, I guess maybe this is the before and the other guy lying down is the after. I don't know, but just shows you what you know, the imagination of these folks who actually sculpted these things.
Yep.
But they're really nicely sculpted. What's that? Sorry?
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, like you know, this guy is not reaching for a charge card. You know, it's very cool. So I just thought I'd share that because I think I may end up making some molds of those and stuff and having some fun with them. But
yeah, some of those guys, even though they're kneeling, they look like they could be changing a tire if you with a little bit of work.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And you can turn maybe those fedoras into ball caps or something. Yeah.
They'd be great on a 1/32 scale, you know, recreation of 1938 Le Mans or 39 Le Mans or something like that.
Oh, that's a great idea because that way you can keep the ties and the jackets. That's
and
true.
the hats, and yeah, all that.
Well, even the drivers. I mean, I remember seeing pictures of Rob Walker racing I think he had a Delahaye at Le Mans, wearing a full suit with a tie and helmet, like, you know, and a leather helmet and goggles.
Yeah, I mean, I think they dressed up just in case they didn't make it. They'd be well.
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
like Mike Hawthorne used to race with a bow tie.
A bow tie. It's one less thing for the coroner to do. Yeah, exactly.
White dress shirts and bow tie.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So anyway, but I encourage, if you find those figures, they're perfect. And I would grab them for your track. They're awesome.
Cool.
Good stuff. Thanks for sharing, sir. Moving on. What you got, Mr. Broke?
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
G'day.
Hello.
Oh, g'day. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're glitching a little bit.
Can't hear me.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's glitching. Might have to turn off your
Can't hear
video.
me. All right.
Here we go. I'm gonna turn off this video. There we
No,
go.
we can hear you.
Okay, so Lenny,
Can you hear me now?
I turned your video off so that you have more bandwidth for your voice. So hopefully you can hear us clearly.
The
Okay.
call are hitting is cable fiber.
So what did you want to
not
share?
sure- hang on. Let's get rid of that. All right. I'll try and do the share.
Yeah, if you're sharing pictures, it should be fine. Don't bother sharing video.
Oh, forget it. Oh,
Forget it. Okay, maybe disconnect and reconnect, and we'll try again later.
yeah. Okay.
All right, anybody else got any show and tell? Seeing and hearing none, we're going to go ahead and move on to Club Corner. So that means I'm going to go ahead and share my stuff real quick again, this time about racing stuff that happened over the last 2 weeks because I missed last week's chat. It was just a checkup, no big deal, nothing to worry about. So hopefully you're seeing the video. I'm not going to play the video, but this is the IROC of a week and a half ago, where we raced Ninco. No, sorry, Fly Racing. I'm like Ninco Racing? No, Fly Racing BMWs. Anybody who has a Fly Racing car knows that they're fantastic cars with the pod and the springs. And the tires are good. It's like, if you see those, if you don't have one, if you see one, freaking buy it because they're fantastic.
They are actually really good, yeah.
They are, and they still hold up against what is out these days, surprisingly. I did okay in that, second place. Chris is our new hotness, our one of our most recent members. I talked about him in the past. He was a 124th racer. He's a good driver. So again, he's stiff competition. There's the fancy looking one. Then we did our Pioneer races.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if I get
Man,
close
that
up
track's had a couple of laps for him.
a few, yeah. Oh, yeah. I stopped taking video early on this because carnage. Yeah, so lane 1 swings out, lane 2 hits it. End of the story for those guys.
Immediately placed an order for one of Jeremy's rubber bumpers.
Yep, and so did multiple guys in our club. One of the guys was sporting his new set the other night, 2 nights ago. I didn't get any video of that. But here were some of the cars that were racing. I was going to say, these cars are tall, short F1 cars, because you just don't want to get anywhere near the other car if you're trying to make a pass or whatever. Hopefully the guy next to you is, if you're lapping him, hopefully he's nice enough to blue flag himself. Some guys don't blue flag themselves, so you're just gonna have to risk it. But
are you running rubber tires, or you're running?
We're running stock tires, yeah. Oh. So that kind of reminds me. I remember I was bitching and moaning about this a couple weeks ago, about how the stock rubber seems to lose traction fast, right? We're using supposedly some kind of rubber / urethane compound. It's got good grip on most of the surfaces that we run on, and we have been using our normal, rubber type tire cleaning, the Scale Auto tire cleaner, lighter fluid, Nivea hand cream, the stuff that works on rubber and foam rubber. And my traction disappeared after the first few heats. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not working, so I need to try something else. So between the week and a half ago and 2 days ago, I decided I wasn't going to do anything. The tires have already been glued and trued and treated, in the past. So something has been done to them. But what I did was just sit there with a lint roller and just keep rolling the tires on it until it came up clean. It took a while. It took a couple layers of lint roller to get the tires to come up clean. But at the race 2 nights ago, I pretty much had traction all night long. So I think I'm just gonna leave them alone and just tape them, before the race. We're still not allowed to clean the tires during the night. We can clean them ahead of time, whatever we want to do ahead of time. I'm just gonna freaking lint roller them, because
sounds like you used the lint roller to get all the dead rubber off the surface.
It sounds like it, right?
So maybe if you'd given them a little scuff on the tire true beforehand, it would have had the same effect.
As the lint roller, yeah, that probably would have done it. Anyways,
how long is that track?
I don't know the lap
16?
length. The table is, I think, it's not that long. I don't think it's a full 16 long. I think it's probably 12 or 14 long, and it's only like 6 wide.
6 wide.
It's not a particularly large track.
So it's got about 50 feet of track on it by the looks of it.
That sounds about right.
How's the marshalling handle on that? Because
easy.
Not
are you able to reach
bad.
across? Okay, not too bad. Okay.
Basically, just 3.
The ends here look easy, but like that middle section looks a little.
Yeah. So where I'm standing, there's turn 1, which is fairly wide and goes under the bridge, and then this turn here that is the bridge. This is probably the hardest area to marshal, where it does that little wiggle before the final turn.
Is there an indent right there on that orange where that orange is? Can you step in there?
Yeah.
As like an end. Okay, so you can reach in there.
No,
just
the
curious.
table is straight.
No,
Sorry, the
it's
table is
straight. Oh,
straight
okay.
all the way. So we do have situations where sometimes it's easier for whoever is marshaling down at the far end to come around and reach in.
Okay.
Sometimes, like if we're racing, like on this video, we're racing this direction, so you go up to the top of the bridge and then down, and then along the main straight. Sometimes we race opposite, so we're going up on this in the middle. In that situation, if somebody takes it too wide and hits the wall or another car in here, then they're basically, the only way to get that car is for a driver to grab it, or for somebody to push between drivers to grab it, or for somebody on the far side to grab a grabber tool to get it. Otherwise, pretty much every other crash is easy to get to.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything from 2 nights ago because I was just not in the mood. So it was a good time. Plastic Track, maybe Russ will post a video because I know he was taking video. So if you're subscribed to Russ' favorite slot car channel, he'll probably upload a video from Victor's in the next few days. Then there was last weekend. So this is our fearless leader, Alan, doing his inspection of I think those are the Revo slot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Revo slot GT1 and GT2 race. I participated in all 3 of the support races, which was the BRM GT1 that I showed my Porsche 911 Evo for. Revo slot GT1 and GT2, he split into 2 classes. Basically, I ran GT2. And then BRM Group 2 and Minis, and I ran my Capri like I did last year. Anywho, that's a picture of that, and that's the 8-lane track. This is just kind of random pictures during practice and before the racing and stuff. That's the 6-lane track. There's the BRMs. There's my beautiful car right there. Everybody look at it. It's beautiful. But we had a lot of racers. I don't think Alan was expecting this many people to want to participate in the support races, because he usually runs 3-minute heats. And because there were so many racers, he ended up starting really late, running 1-minute heats because he had to run so many people through, and then still ended late. So we were supposed to run these BRM, GT1s and the Revo slot on Thursday. We ended up running the Revo slots on Friday, and then the BRM Group 2 and Minis, he only ran the Group 2s because that ran late. So all the people who wanted to participate in the BRM Minis didn't, because he just didn't run that race, because he also wanted to give people, more time to test and tune their 24-hour cars before they had to actually put them on the track for racing on Saturday at 10 a.m. So I understand why he did it, but, best laid plans, he did not lay very good plans. But it was fun. That's not the end of my pictures, is it? Come on, where are you at? All right, come on. That's not the end of my picture. Oh, I was zoomed in. My bad. Okay, so this is between the heats on the BRMs. Here's cleaning the tires of the cars before before the race goes. So I'll tell my story now about my BRM experience. Like I said, my fault. I did not give the car a once over, let alone a 2 or 3 times over, or running it. Pretty much I slapped it right on the track for racing. Nothing, right? That was a bad choice. My gear ended up not being very well meshed, and it had a wobble to it, which I, of course, didn't discover until it started eating teeth after like 3 or 4 heats. So I'm like, as I'm driving my car around, because I went hard right off the bat, and then after a few heats, it started making noise, and I'm like, okay, something ain't right. And between heats, I had, I asked somebody to take a look at it, and he's like, "But your teeth are toast." And I'm like, "Crap." So turned my sensitivity all the way down, turned my brakes all the way down, and just tried to get as many coasting laps as I possibly could. And to be perfectly honest, that's a pretty good standing for how poorly my car was running after the first few heats. But hey, it looked good, looked damn good doing it. And I took a few shots of that. These, of course, are first, second, third, fourth, blah, blah, blah. That's how he does his field after the end of a race. Took too many shots of that. Yes, the car is beautiful. Some more random shots and videos of happenings, practicings. This is the BRM Group 2, as you can see, and I ran my Bilstein Capri again, like I did last year. Did okay again, as I did last year. For some reason, my pictures are out of order because I did not order them properly. This is the results of the Revo slot GT2, and as you can see, I got 5th place overall, which I'm quite happy with. There it is again. It's blue and yellow. It's pretty. And there's the actual finishing standing. Let's see, 88 or 89. Yeah, not too far behind. Come on. There we go. And here's my Group 2 final. Again, 5th place. Last year, I think I got 6th place overall and 4th in class. Don't know how I would have done against the minis, but here we are. Happy with that. And took some more glamour shots because it's a beautiful car. That's pretty much it for me. Any questions?
Good.
Moving on. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, we had our weekly race after skipping a week because I was ill the week before. And I got a little bit frustrated with oxygen because I could not get new chips to work, and old chips. I got new chips that I did get registered, and then they would only do half speed. I think something's wrong with the rectifier in the chip. I think that's what causes the problem. But that's the second chip now that I've had that has done that. Both of them been C chips, where they go slow about, as though they were not rectified. So I decided to go back to SSD, and since we now have 4 guys, it was a debacle. The problem that I've had all the time just reared its ugly head unbelievably. I mean, we could barely get 8-9 laps before it would go crazy and fault, and then we'd have to do it. And I'm at wit's end with that. I was ready to throw in the towel. We did 2 races. Both of them, we didn't run a ghost car. We just quit running the ghost car because it was such a problem overall. And it was both the guys got a little frustrated with it. And well, one of the reasons I didn't go to the oxygen is because I'm still working on finding out why I get short laps on it. I tried various things to get rid of the short lap problem. And so I had a problem-filled Monday, to say the least. But, we had fun overall. It was frustrating, but I've got to figure out what's going on. The thing is, if anybody wants me to do beta testing for electrical problems, I will find the problem. Not fix it, but I will find that there's a problem. It's anyway, it was enough to make me almost throw in the towel and start doing analog again. God forbid. So anyway, it was a reasonable night altogether when we got done, but I'm hoping to figure out a little bit more what's going on. It's definitely related to having more people. If we have 2 people, it'll rarely happen. If we have 3 people, it'll do it maybe 2 or 3 times a race. But 4 people, it's like, oh my God. Anything more than 3, and it's just all the time. Every 3-4 laps, it was just losing control of the car in SSD. And nobody has an idea. I've changed everything I can change. We'll see. one thing I would like is when you got a chance, take a picture of how you've got your power plugged into your power base. I would like to see the connections you've got. For some reason I'm thinking that maybe the wires on the barrel plugs are too thin, and I'm not getting enough power there, and that's what's going on. But
Did you do your own?
I don't know.
Did you do your own?
Yeah, I did my own.
What do you remember? What gauge you used?
Well, it's the slotted plugs off of their adapters.
Yeah,
I took those and
so you used the wires that was on the adapter?
Right, for the controllers.
That should have been plenty.
Yeah, I would think so too, but
I replaced mine with something else. I don't remember what gauge it is. It's pretty hefty, probably 14 or 18. Definitely not bigger than 14 and not thinner than 18, so probably 14, 16 or 18. But
yeah,
any of those should have been more than enough. I mean, we're not talking about a lot of power anyways. What I was going to ask, and I'm sure I've asked it before, is did you run RCS64 as administrator and make sure the latency was turned all the way down?
Always, yeah.
And the latency was turned off.
At 1, and it's run as
That's what I figured. That's what I figured. So, I mean, the only other thing, the fact that it happens more often with more people points the finger at the computer, right? And processing, and there's other things. But you've already done everything that we can think of.
I've changed the computer. The only thing that I can think of is that downloading it from RCS gives me one that something's got a fault in it, and I don't know. What I don't know is the mechanism that uses to cause that. That it just causes the thing to just lose, and you can see the light go out. I've gone back on the video. You can see the light go out on the computer when it happens. So I know it's the connection from the computer to the power base that's causing the problem. But I don't know why. It's just and I've tried to. Nothing particularly is on that to make the processor be stressed or anything like that.
Do you still have a basic electric set digital like that one, just like a one off the shelf?
Yeah.
Why don't you just build that like on your kitchen table, a little 6-foot track, and then introduce some of your parts to it. Make sure, put 4 cards on it or whatever. Just run it, make sure it's everything working, nothing weird with your electrical, and then introduce one of your what have you got on there? Lane changers or turns or something? Slowly
there's 5
those and just eliminate start at the beginning and eliminate every possibility. Because there's so many problems that you could be running into. I'm not a digital expert. Greg doesn't know, nobody's gonna know. But I would strip everything down and start at the beginning.
That. Yeah, he pretty much
started with
so
you built a little 6-car power base and just drove it. It's fine.
We've basically done everything under the sun, and twice.
Time to go back to analog.
It's like there's a gremlin in his garage or something.
Yeah.
Well, it could be something in your power. Who knows? Like, that sounds kind of stupid, but I know, like generators. You have those generators, the new ones that run for laptops that don't run good on the regular generator. So, electrical lines.
You could get a UPS, uninterruptible power supply.
Yeah, Shiggy suggested that earlier. I might do that and see what happens.
You wouldn't even have to get a very big one or expensive one, just one that has a couple outlets on it that, and a battery.
Yeah.
Just to smooth out the power and
see if anyone has one of those inversion generators. They're quieter, they run more efficient, but you can run those with laptops without worrying about it causing problems. I don't know. I'll after this show I'll try to show you one. But try to run on a different power source, see what happens.
Yeah,
not a bad idea.
We can talk about it more. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Did you do any analog racing at the other track?
No, I did not. I was ill for the races up there, and they had a low turnout, and I guess it was problematic according to Shiggy. And Mike did really well. Bretby did really well. He, as usual, doesn't qualify very quickly. I mean, this is so typical of him. And you notice in our races, he's almost always third in the qualifying or fourth. He doesn't qualify very well on one lap. I can smoke him almost every time. It's very rare for him to win qualifying. But what he did is he got in the B main again, won the B main, and then finished in in second place in the A main in one race and first place in the other. He won both the B and the A main, and he took, I think, third, doing the same thing on the third race, because they raced 3 cars. We raced stock cars, we raced retro Can-Ams with brass chassis, and we raced LMPs. And he literally was on the podium for all 3 races and in the B main for all 3 races. It was unbelievable. He just stays on. He really does. I was
going to say that's the thing, is staying on. Like, the only reason I did 5th place at Allen's for those 2 races was because I focused on keeping my car on the track. We race, crash, and burn, so that's my mentality. Just keep the car on the track. And every time somebody'd be past me, I'd be like, okay, cool, that's you do. And then he'd come off 2 or 3 turns later. I'm like, see ya, that's sure, you can pull a faster lap than me. Cool story, bro. I got more laps than you. That's how racing works.
Yeah, I really have to switch gears, because when I'm setting up the cars, I'm going for fastest lap time to see what the equality is in the cars. So that gear change for me is not always good. To back off that little bit, because especially when you get somebody racing you, it's like, okay, and I have to talk to myself, but the one lap that you get the red mist, that can be it. You know what I mean? So I won both races on Monday, but it was such a shit show that just
does it count?
I didn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Because what happened when you lose control of the cars, some cars will move, and it's interesting because one of the cars will either stop or go full bore, and that's what trips it.
Well, it's basically the communication is lost. So the last thing that the power base got was whatever throttle level the car happened to be at when the communication was lost. And some of the guys will have had their finger off because they were in a corner, and some of the guys will have their finger on because they're in a straight. And that's what the cars do and keep doing.
And I don't know what the purpose of that is, whether it's to prevent, spikes or something like that going back through the computer, or what the deal is. It doesn't flag the fuse on the interruptible fuse on the power base. That happens sometimes, and then of course you'll lose the communication. But sometimes it takes less. Now, one of the things that I've done is I dropped it down to 12 volts, and for quite a while I was running the 14 volts that normally comes with the power on the Scalextric power base, and I would adjust the speed of the cars through the throttle assemblies, or the throttle curve in RCS. But I stopped that, and I've been, because Shiggy complained a little bit because he doesn't like the linear throttle curve on that particular setup. So he's much more of an on-off racer. You would think it would work easier for him, but he doesn't like it, and the S curve seems to work really well for him. So either I have to devise an S curve throttle setup for a lower power, or figure out another way to do that. So I'm gonna go back to the full 14 volts and then adjusting it through the power base next week and see what happens. I've got irritatingly, today I was messing around with the oxygen, and the particular chip that I was trying to register that wouldn't register no matter what I did, register fine. It's like, oh, nothing's wrong. It's like, you just want to throw the computer, which is, counterproductive.
No,
So,
don't do that.
yeah, don't do that. It's expensive. Rage is expensive, no matter what. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So,
Alrighty. Sorry
thanks.
you had such a terrible time.
Yeah, well,
Hopefully we'll have some
bad
more.
day slap racing is better than a good day at work, for sure.
There you go. Hopefully I'll get some more digital racing going on here for you to come over and ruin.
Yeah, get a break.
Okay, moving on. Go ahead, Gio.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, so this week within the race, but I want to show kind of 10 seconds from one of the races that we had the last week, where I think I mentioned you that I won that race, but the computer or the software didn't register the win. So actually watching the videos or the video of that race actually shows a different picture of what I was remembering. So these are the last 10 seconds. And as you can see down here, so this is my dashboard, so G Racing, with 9% of fuel left in the tank, and I'm second. And this is Alex with just 1% of fuel, and is leading the race. Now I'm gonna play slowly and stop here and there, so just bear with me. So this is Alex going over a lap 124. Sorry, lap 25. It takes a while to register the lap. Okay, and this is that was me with this car here, the R8. So this is the difference between first and second. So I'm trying to chase him up. He's slowing down because now he's running out of fuel. So both of us 125 laps going around the track. And now Alex basically is here out of fuel. So maybe I play this. So this is Alex first, but out of fuel. And this is me second. And there are 4 seconds left in the race. So this is basically when we go over the lap, over the start finishing line that is over here, basically the race, it's over. And so this is what happens. So this is the finish line. So it's just, what it is, half a car in front of me, motherfucker. And basically, yeah, the race, it took the race home. Although I finished in front of him, but yeah, and that's it. So he's kind of here, and and I've like what is maybe a couple meters in front of him. And I mean, officially, for what I remember, the software, if you run out of fuel, should stop counting laps. But I mean, yet another bug for our CO2.
It looks like he just had fumes.
Well, it might be connected to the number of laps before you don't count laps for penalties.
All right, yeah, that's also could be the case. Yeah, that you have to do 3 laps before stop counting laps. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's also the other thing. Anyway, so it was a completely different story of what I freaking remember, because I remember that actually there was Jan also, I think, ran out of fuel. And I remember that Alex was behind Jan and I managed to overtake him. He said Jan is completely out of the picture here. So sometimes what you remember, and it's completely different what happens on the track. And what I like, I mean, I don't know if, where is it? So I don't know if you can see, but I'm on inner lane, right? And I want to overtake Alex. So here there is a lane change. Look how much the car goes out of the basically main lane. Sure, stops. Okay, blah blah blah.
You tail out pretty wide.
Yeah, I mean, because I go full freaking throttle basically on there. So
Yeah,
actually,
you're
I
like,
mean,
"Oh."
so this is my first experience kind of messing around with, freezing the frame and then slow-mo a bit. And so I think I messed around with the actual, parts where, the different bits of the frames kind of come up together. But actually, you can
Yeah.
see the car going first, swinging all the way to the right and then all the way to the left, and actually it's amazing how it does not come out of the slot. Anyway,
Yep.
it's interesting stuff. Yeah, totally. So
Those
coming
are
back,
fun.
kind of coming back to Mike, I think Mike, with the 12 volts for the APB, we are really running on fumes, and I'm not sure also how many amps you are pumping to the APB, depending of which kind of what's called the power supply you have. So maybe you should test with the two blocks and put there, maybe
I've done that
use some
already.
kind of mild motors, and just to put back the two bricks come from
Yeah,
scratch. That's one.
I have done
Second
that
thing,
already.
second thing, when you're running oxygen, get rid of the APB and just provide straight DC power from your thing, and avoiding all the screws or whatever or any other components. Run as clean as possible, because the more variables you put in, the more messy the situation gets, and you have everything there in order to go DC straight for oxygen.
Yeah, although I have to switch all my chips, which means resoldering all of them. So
No, you
that's a
can
pain
leave
in
the
the
chips.
ass.
No, you can leave the chips as going through AC, right? I just by default I do all my chips as AC because I don't have to worry about whether it's on a DC track or a Scalextric digital track or a Ferrari digital track with reverse polarity. That's what I do.
Yeah.
The only time it's a problem is when you have pure DC chip cars going against AC setup cars because they lose like a half a volt or something like that. Just
Oh,
keep,
okay.
just keep doing them AC.
Don't worry about it.
But if you can figure out a way to easily, I don't know how easy it is to pull the APB from your track, but just yank it and stick a half straight in there with the DC just going straight to the rails.
Well, truthfully,
changers
I
won't
don't
mind.
have much problem with oxygen. The only thing I've had is the short lap problem, but I don't think that has anything to do with the oxygen runs fairly flawlessly. My problem with the oxygen was just getting the chips to work and stuff on Monday. And once that's done, they work fine as a rule, as long as the chip isn't bad right from the get-go. But yeah, I got 3 chips and I've got 2 out of the 3 that were bad. That was annoying.
Yeah.
It was really, really annoying. And one was a B and one was a C, and go figure. At any rate, and I tried different firmware on them and changing everything I could think of and running through the pits in case they were in pit mode or whatever. But that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Either that or it's the rectifier running at half speed. That's the only other thing I can think of, that you have AC power and the chip won't go out of DC to AC.
But that's basically, you see, you are introducing in the equation another variable. And what I'm trying to say is get rid of as many variables as possible. Because
but all the work fine with it.
So those
but
it doesn't.
Geo, just let it go. It's an uphill.
I'll say it this way. So with those 2 chips that you think are only half working with their bridge rectifier, go ahead and move the wires, move the screw, and put it on a pure DC powered track and see if it's still a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe even before you before you move the wires and stuff, put it on a pure DC track and see. Because if I don't know how bridge rectifiers work. I don't know if it would still be half power. I don't think it would. If
I
it
don't
was
think
pure,
so.
it would still be full power if it was
Yeah,
pure
that's
DC.
a good idea. What I'm going to do probably is I've been thinking about doing pure DC on my polycar track anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
Doing it that way. So I may pull the power base on that, wire it direct, and just with power on, and see how it goes. If the chips are bad, that'll show it up.
And you don't even need to worry about the lane changers. Just leave them in. They'll be perfectly happy with the DC.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the polycar lane changer only works with DC.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason I'm thinking about it. With the whole thing, I'm thinking about. Oh my God, it's I've been doing halves on this stuff, and maybe I should just bite the bullet and buy all the polycar lane changers and set them up and do it strictly DC, and run one track with AC and one track with SSD, and let it go with that. But
well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say swap all your SSD lane changers for polycar ones right off the bat. Just stick DC on that track. Pull whatever power base you've got and put DC on that track, and play with that for a while. And yeah, maybe one track is pure DC, oxygen, and the other one is the SSD/oxygen. But that's the easiest way right now. The easiest way, because then you don't even mess with your SSD track. Just go ahead and turn the polycar track into pure DC, and do your oxygen testing on there.
Yeah, I can do that. I have the technology for that. I do know how to solder.
All right, let's talk about some analog slot car racing for the rest of us. Go ahead, Dewan.
Oh, okay. I'm unmuted. Okay, good. This week we had a far out slot car club race over at Eddie Shore's Mini Bula. I'm trying to find my mouse so I can hit the share button here. Where is that? I'll just use my finger. Think. No, my finger's not working. Oh, yeah. Oh, it is working. Okay. You there? Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay, good. We had two classes. The first class was the slotted G Group C class. And you can see I personally didn't do very well. Oh, yeah, this is the Group C's. I didn't do very well, but and let me just give you a little background on this. I had a car that I bought from I have about 5 or 6 Group C cars, slot Group C cars that are far out qualified, let's call it that. And I remember going through about 3 or 4 cars, and then I went and looked and saw I had a couple extras. And one of them was a car that I got from I got it about 3 years ago from Dennis at that estate sale. And I remember because I just never had a real good Group C car. And I remember, and that was the Newman car. And I put that car on the track, and it was like 3/10 faster than every single Group C car, just straight out, just using it. And I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and it was hooked up and was like competitive. Well, competitive by my nature means near the middle of the pack. And that's the car that I left in my real car in Las Vegas when it got to about 120 degrees.
Oh.
The tires on it flattened out and melted up. And so I had to, and then I found out also that those tires were not the Ortman tires that we're required to use for that class. And so anyway, I had to redo the car and put the Ortman tires on there because the ones I had were ruined anyway. And then the car ended up being like 2/10, almost 3/10 slower the than the competitive the other cars, my Group C cars, that it was much faster. It was 3/10, 2 to 3 tenths faster. Now it's 2 to 3 tenths slower. So and it doesn't handle well or anything like that. So anyway, I've gone back to some really non-competitive cars, along with my non-competitive driving, and then I ended up in was it 18th place, well, whatever the place that is. Yeah, 18th place out of 19. We had 19 racers. This was the end of the year for the Group C. Well, we have for the Ferrari Club, we have not eight categories of cars, and I believe we had 24 races per year, or 28 races per, something like 20 some odd races per year, with 28 weekends with 2 races per weekend. So we end up with about 5 runs out of each one of the different 8 classes. And so this was the final of the 5 runs for both the Group C slotted cars and the other class, which was the Revo GT1, GT2s. Anyway, you see that the hometown favorite Eddie distanced everybody. Not quite, did pretty three laps ahead of the next person, Tom Geezy, to win at his track. And again, you can see that the top guys there, Tom and Walter, and the usuals are up there on this class. Anyway, that was the Group C class. The second race was, hold on, how do I get to this? My mouse just keeps disappearing on me again. And the second race was the Revos. And Eddie once again finished first in this, and then we had Baba Hooley and Tevin Tabucci finishing for the podium, and then Walter's not too far off, just barely missing out with like 2/10 of a lap. I finished again. We only had 18 drivers, so I finished 17th out of 18 this time around. But one thing this is the class that we ran the last race over at Jim Wiseman's track. And my car that I was driving was this Dodge Viper. And at Jim Wiseman's track, I had one lane that I was, again, just really hooked up, and I actually won. I actually won that heat last week at Jim Wiseman's with the same Viper. I think I did, like, anyway. I won a heat in that one lane, but the other 3 lanes, I was just, just horrible. And you can see the same thing happened this time around. Okay, for the Group C, we ran 4-minute heats, and it was getting a little late in the day, and they voted to make it 3-minute heats instead of 4-minute heats for the second race. So that's why we have far less laps for the Revos, which were much faster. But you can see that for me in particular, this red lane, I got 32.6 laps. And I was at least almost four laps more in the red lane than I was in any of the other 4 lanes. And I started off in the red lane because that was my last heat. So I did the first 3 heats, and the other 3 lanes in my red lane was the last one. And I was driving pretty conservative because I was coming off probably 4 or 5 or 6 times each one of those previous heats. But in the red lane, I started noticing that I was hooked up again. And after I got a little more confidence, I started really trying to run the race, or try to get into the race. And I started off the race leading the first lap and a half, and then I came off. And so I was kind of like dropped down to 3rd, but then I start coming back and I start lapping guys again. So for whatever reason, I just got like in the zone for one of the four lanes in both Jim's race last week and one of the four lanes this week. This one I finished second. I think I finished second in the heat, but I was, and if I wouldn't have been so conservative to start with, because I was gun shy from coming off so many times before, I probably would have done a considerably better. But I'm bringing all this up because I'm kind of coming up with a little conclusion here that the kind of parlays into other, not slack car, but well, let's put it this way. I was involved in you guys know the bowling world and some of the very, very elite class, some of the very elite versions of bowling. And so we had some elite people and then we had some good people. And we had some not so good people that was just, they're the average guys. And so I'm seeing the same thing in the classes of slot cars. We have the elites that are the Eddie Shores and the Bible Hoolies and Walter Baines and Tom Geezy and all those these guys that are constantly in the top five. Those are they're elite. They really, really, no one. There's no given day that I'm going to end up ahead of any of those guys per se. But just like in the bowling world, I was consider myself good, but not elite. But I may compete in 100 events, and two of those 100 events, I may really get in the zone and shine and actually come and be a podium class, and in a couple of cases, once or twice a year, I would actually win an event. So I'm saying that the same type of thing that occurs where I'm not even considered an average guy in the slot car world, but then I do seem to kind of get in the zone a little bit and really own and see myself passing people in the middle of the heats and things like that, something I never was doing before. So it's like some of kind of like getting into the moment. So that to me is a step of improvement that's going on throughout this, the process of experience in slot car racing and how it parallels with the other worlds of bowling and basketball and things like that as well. But anyway, that's that. But let me kind of give you this is kind of the summary of where, this shows the end of the Revo class within the club, all 5 races. So this is what they do. And I think they take the best 4 out of the 5 races, your best performance out of the 5 races, and rank you. You get points for each one of the races and how you finish. 20 is the first, go first, and 19 is, 18 I think is second, and things like that. They'll have this scale there, but nonetheless, overall for the Revo slot GT1, GT2 class was Kevin Tabucci with 84 total points. No, sorry. I can't, oh boy, I should have analyzed this a little bit better, but anyway, he was the overall winner. Yeah, this is the ranking right here. With 72 total points. Using his well, I don't know, I can't even tell you. But anyway, so he won the Revo class, and then second was Eddie Shore, and third was Walter Banks for the whole year worth of racing. So that's that class. And then we have the finals of the Group C class. And on this one, we see Tom Geezy. Like I said, he's doesn't come out to any of the real events outside of Far Out Club. But he's an exceptionally talented racer. He won the Group C class for the year. And Walter Baines finished second, tied for second and third with Jim Wiseman. and Kevin Tabucci's in fourth. So again, those are the top guys, the elite guys, and things like that are in the ranking. And you can see it I was way down here. Well, actually, 14. I don't know even how I got that far with the Group C. I got some 5 points. That's supposed to be when I had my Newman car that was actually somewhat competitive. So I got some points. I didn't finish last in those, let's put it that way. So I think that's there was
I
one
see
interest.
that they rank anybody that didn't run at least 3 races. They rank them below everybody that ran at least 3 races.
Okay. Yeah. I
Like
see.
Eddie, for instance, showing there in 15th, but he had a lot more points than a lot of other guys, but he only ran 2 races. So that
Yeah.
makes him ineligible to ride,
Eligible
to
for
be
the right.
classified by the looks of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. See, I don't have a lot of background on it. And I think I have one more slide. Let me go this way. Yeah, this is a kind of interesting thing. Like I said, we had 8 different class of vehicles. And so Stephen Fart Jones went through a little analysis of different types of cars that were available for each one of the 8 classes, and found out that we had literally 1,019 different cars, uniquely different cars that we could have with all the 8 classes of that we race. So it's kind of interesting fact to see how many different variations in each one of the different 8 classes that are available, and when they were introduced, things like that. So it's kind of nice. So that's a big summary. We have one more regular race, and then we have a team race in a few weeks, and then one more regular race, and that'll be it for the year. And we're doing a survey and analyzing good, bad, and different of this year's racing, and see what people like to see to make changes and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's up to our benevolent dictator, Mr. Stephen Fart Jones. That's all I have for today. Let me go ahead and stop my share.
Cool beans.
Oh, can you stop it? Because I don't see what the stop button is. They moved everything on me with this new version of there we go.
No problemo. Got it taken care of for you. Thank you for sharing,
Yeah,
sir.
I can't even find half the screen options anymore.
All right, go ahead, Lenny.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can hear me. Great. All right, I'd go and re-sign in and rejoin Zoom to get going again. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I'll just get this up and running. We've got a bit of club corner and a bit of show and tell. I was going to do the show and tell first, but hang on. I don't hit the share button yet. There we go. All right, so a couple of weeks back, I ventured back into the world of commercial track racing. I've just been racing at home for about a year or two. I went out to War Raceway, formerly the Thunderbird Slot Car Racing. It's War Slot Car Raceway now. War being for West Adelaide Raceway, even though it's in the north. So you've got to work that one out with the track owner. But anyway, so we raced on 2 different tracks. This is what they call the Fulham Park Raceway track, a little 4-laner. Very tricky. It's got a couple of tricky corners. The hairpin here and the second hairpin here, especially on blue lane, can be a bit of a problem. I threatened to buy the track off the previous owner and bog up that lane, turn it into a 3-laner because that's too much. I love that lane. But anyway, so we raced. It was all Revo Slot, by the way. Revo Slot race classes. So first up, we raced Group 2. I haven't got any photos of the cars, unfortunately. I was too busy marshalling and racing to get any photos of the cars. But we ran a 4 or 5-minute heats, so a 20-minute race. Good mix of cars. There was Escorts, Alfa Romeos, a couple of Cadets, a couple of BMWs, and I can't remember what else was in. Oh, a couple of Nissan Datsun 1600/160Js or whatever they call them over there. in America. Nick took that out. He did a really good job. He's one of our better racers in the state in South Australia. He ran an Alfa Romeo GTM, very nice little car, tracked really well and good grip. Then Chris M finished behind him, about 4 laps behind. And then I sneaked in third. I was gunning for second place, fighting with Chris. I started 2 laps down in the last heat, but fortunately Chris came out in one of the hairpins and I tripped over his deslotted car. By the time the marshal got them all back in, he was away and I finished in third. So, but unexpected result for me. I wasn't going in expecting anything. Thought I might finish 5th or 6th, somewhere around there, and I was surprised to get a podium spot. So I was happy. I ran an Opel Cadet. Chris was running a Ford Escort. There's me getting me booty, a little certificate and a plaque to put on my toolbox. The 3rd place. That guy on the right there, that's Mike. He's the owner of Wall Raceway now. So he and his son run it together. There's Chris, picked up 2nd place in the class, and with Mike again. And then 3rd place was Nick. 1st place was Nick. Pretty good racer, good preparer of cars. So yeah, so it was a good race all round. Then we moved. Then we had Mike has a thing called the Race Directors Award. It gives that to somebody who he thinks is deserving. That's not in the upper echelon of the results. So there's Kevin. He's been around for a million years. I've known Kevin for 20 odd years, and he's raced in all sorts of places. He can remember racing back in the 60s. That's how old he is. But top bloke, very nice man. Okay, then we moved on to what's called the War Track. Previously at Mike's house, but since he took over the business, he's moved it down here to Paraka, which is a suburb north of Adelaide. So it's an 8-lane, I think it's an old bowling alley track, old commercial track, fairly high speed and big accidents. So you can usually expect to come away with some sort of damage with your car, missing headlights or headlight covers or aerials or mirrors or sometimes a broken chassis. Unfortunately, with the Revos, they're aluminium, so they're not going to break real easy. So, and young Saul took that out. He's a young up-and-comer. He usually races with his dad, but his dad wasn't here this particular evening, so Saul came along and raced on his own. And then Nick finished in 2nd, and then another young fella just starting out. He's a ex-RC racer, so he knows a bit about setup. And he's only been racing for about 9-10 months, and he's already picking up podiums around the place. So there's Nick. Andrew Gilbertson, I think his name is G-I. Andrew G-I. Once again with Mike getting his little plaque. There's Nick again, finishing 2nd in the heat. And there's young Saul. He's probably, I don't think he's even 20 yet. So, and he's been racing since he was a little kid with his dad. Done a pretty good job. He ran a Marcos. I can't remember what the other 2 were running. I think they were running Marcoses as well. And there's Tim, who picked up the Race Directors Award. I finished 6th in that one. I forgot to change my controller settings from the other track, and it took me 10 laps to get it sorted out. And then I was bone last and managed to finish 6th after a bit of a comeback drive. I was using a Porsche GT2. 911 GT2. And then the last race of the evening was the LMP GT1s. And Nick took that one out again. And Chris Morley finished 2nd, and Andrew took another 3rd place. Saul just a little bit behind him. And Webby, one of my former employer, g'day Webby if you're watching. And then me in 6th. I had an interesting run. I tripped over a car coming onto the lead on, as it is, as the corner's known, and 6 other cars piled into the same incident, so behind me, and the marshal picked my car up and tucked it under his arm, and then I couldn't see my car, and it took about 15 seconds to get my car back in, so I lost a whole pile of laps. So I finished up in sixth again. So, but even so, I was pretty happy with that. I wasn't expecting to finish in the top 10 in this one, so I was pretty happy with that. That's again is Nick getting his trophy from Mike, and then Andrew, Chris. I got those photos in the wrong order. And the race director's award went to Will. He's been around a fair while. Will's had a few health issues, so he did pretty well to finish where he did. And hell of a nice bloke. And yeah, one of the stalwarts of the hobby around the place, different places he races. I'm trying to get him to my place, but he doesn't want to come. It's too far, I reckon, from where he lives. There's a quick video here, 30-second video of one of the races.
No,
So start there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Where all the sound's gone, but there you go. That guy sitting down is not falling asleep, he's watching the track. That's a fairly fast track. So most of the trouble happens under the bridges. They come out there and then get cleaned up. Well, you can't see where I'm pointing, but here, most of the trouble happens under here. The marshals can't get to the car very easily. But yeah, so if you don't mind, I'll go into some show and tell. We're currently developing a new class to race here, based around our Indigenous touring car class called V8 Supercars, or just plain supercars these days. The real cars are a space frame chassis with control everything underneath it, except the motor. It's either a GM LS or a Ford, I think it's a Coyote motor. It's both over 5.5 litres in capacity. Anyway, Scalextric used to do them years and years ago. They've stopped doing them now because of licensing rights and everything else. And I think they used to do them on behalf of the local importer. I think they've lost interest in it. So they're not doing too many now. And the price of Scalextric cars, and once the collectors get hold of them, the price goes up again. So we decided to try and come up with a cheaper alternative. So initially we started out working with Phil Cowpfield down in Tasmania on a 3D printed chassis, but Phil's health problems put a stop to that. So young Andrew, one of our regular racers, knows a guy at work. One of his work colleagues is a 3D printer enthusiast, but he's not a slot car racer. He's got no interest in slot cars at all. But he was asking his friends at work if they had anything they wanted printed, and Andrew went, "Oh yeah." So they found a file somewhere, or drew up a file, and we come up with this 3D chassis. So we're running it as a control class, so the pod will be a 1.5 mil offset slotted pod with a slotted gear, either the yellow 28 or the black 27 gear. The wheels we'll be using are like a local manufacturer, MJK, make the wheels in Adelaide here. So they're going to be a control wheel and control tyre. The rear tyres will be BRM Shore 20s, and we'll run a what do you call it? A Slotting Plus universal guide, and the bodies will be vac form based on around the all the V8 supercar / supercar class cars that have been around for the last 20 odd years. This one's in particular is a Holden Commodore or Vauxhall Insignia to the UK. I think it's a Buick of some sort, badge engineered Buick, based around an Opel model. So there's a top view of the chassis. We're going to be running either a Scalextric or an Osrace motor, which the guys at MJK have got the rights to sell. So they're basically just the 18K Scalextric motor. And these are just prototypes at the moment. We're just mucking around trying to work out the best way to set them up. We'll look at racing them in the new year once we've got a final specification on the car. Also, you'll be able to run the Mustang and the Camaro, the current Mustang and Camaros, if you're familiar with supercars here in Australia. Sort of similar to NASCAR, I guess, but our doors open. The driver's and passenger doors are hinged. Space frame chassis, but yeah. So there's the thing, and there's the underneath side of it. So you can see the pod, offset pod. We'll come up with, they're not the right tyres, but they've just been fitted on there for effect at the moment. For the front, we're going to
How
run
do
it.
they mount those bodies?
Sorry?
How are the bodies mounted to the
How do you
chassis?
mount the bodies? We're getting brackets made up. The same guy that's making the chassis, making up like a 90-degree.
Okay, you can glue those in the
and
side of the body and then
glue them to
screw
the
them on.
inside of the body, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
And
glue works for that?
sorry?
What glue works for Lexan to anything actually? Because I've
Oh,
always
you paint
Lexan.
the bodies on the inside, so you glue them to the paint. So either you use polycarbonate paint or automotive paint on it. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
actually glue them to the plastic. Well, we use contact adhesive,
Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
work. Yeah, double-sided tape will work too.
double-sided tape. Yeah, but the thing with the contact or I think I've used Gorilla Glue as well from memory. It gives you time to move it around, slip it around, whereas with tape, you got to peel it off and get it back in again. So it gives you time to mount the body and get it into position, and then just leave it on the stand for 24 hours and come back. Hopefully, it's all there. So yeah, I think they're about 10,000 polycarbonate. Pato also does bodies for these cars as well, but they're in PTEG, which is a little bit less robust than Lexan polycarbonate. But local bloke here in Adelaide makes them. Guy called Ian. He makes them under the name of Outer Limits slot car bodies. So it's basically it's fairly
bad
indigenous.
considering the vac form, do they?
Sorry?
But the bodies don't look too bad considering it's a vac form.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you'd know that as an Opel insignia, the body shape.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Vauxhall insignia.
Yeah,
But we over the years, Nissan have raced in the class, Volvo have raced in the class,
Mercedes.
So
Yeah.
if you can chase up them bodies, so I know Pato does them all. Ian only does the Commodore, the Mustang, and the Camaro at the moment. But the idea is to get everybody's on the same page. Everybody's got basically the same spec. It's how you tune it. It's how you get to run it. That'll be coming in next year. I thought I'd throw the Irwin livery in for Greg because I know how much he loves blue and yellow. So, but yeah, so that's it for me. I'll get out your way now. It's been a bit longer than what I normally go, but I have a fair bit to talk about. So sorry about the hold-ups before. Someone's been poking around in my computer. One of the computer guys has been trying to fix a problem for me. So I think a few things got deleted or moved. So, all right. Thanks. I'll get out your way, guys. Cheers.
I've got a few
Are those
thoughts.
still Pato's bodies?
Sorry?
Made
Are the
locally.
bodies still from Bruce Patterson? Or?
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
this one particular here is from a guy called Ian in Adelaide.
Okay.
He wrote, like I said, he produces under the Outer Limits slot car body brand, but he does a variety of stuff. He's got outer slot cars, but he's still vac forming.
Because there were these that were made a couple of years back with the Patos bodies and the Cameron, Cameron Nielsen.
Yeah.
Made up the chassis that was based on the HRS. Oh, the
Yes.
slotted one with a brass piece around the edge.
Yes, yeah, I remember those. I know Cameron, yeah.
Mhm.
So what's that, a Falcon, is it?
That's a Falcon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Pato also does the decals. That's a set of Pato's peel and stick decals.
Yeah, that's what that is. Nice car, though. Worked pretty well.
Yeah. We're looking to produce the chassis for about $15, and then the other bits are probably the car will probably come in around $110 overall Australian.
Mhm.
I don't know what that is in US dollars.
Not quite that much.
No, but it's about
Greg.
£55, I think. So
I've got a bunch of these. Do you want to send me that car?
I'll have to
Oh.
negotiate. That's young Andrew's car, mate. I'll have to negotiate it with him.
It's blue and yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah, I love some Aussie V8. So my first one was not blue and yellow, and
No.
over the last couple of years, I ended up with a couple of the older models that were blue and yellow.
Yeah. Well, we've been running with all sorts of chassis under them, like metal chassis, like laser cut metal chassis and the standard chassis, and it was just getting a bit of a butcher's picnic class. So we just want to. And I had one running, one of the metal chassis cars running, and I was doing lap times faster than the GT3 around my track. And I said to the boys, I think we need to slow these down a bit.
I don't know that anybody apart from you and me knows what a butcher's picnic is anyway.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anything else?
How you gonna sell them? I mean, is gonna be just a local distributions, or you think, for instance?
It's just that makes my group at the moment, and then we'll have to talk to the guy that makes the chassis after that. But I've got a group of about 10 or 11 guys that turn up, and they're all interested in it. I think most of them are. Young Andrew's taken over the running of it now, because he's in contact with his work colleague. So he's been chucking out prototypes, 3 or 4 prototypes now. We think we finalised the chassis spec. And the interesting thing is the Camaro body has got a shorter wheelbase than the Mustang and the Commodore, but we're keeping the guide lead the same. We're just going to adjust the wheelbase on the car, so it keeps it as fair as possible. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing them, a full field of them. I've been running one of Phil's chassis that I cobbled together, and that runs pretty well. And Andrew's been running this one. He did pretty well with it the other week. One of the other lads borrowed it on the weekend because Andrew wasn't here on Tuesday night, I mean. And he reported he enjoyed driving it. So we're looking forward to getting a full field of those together. I'll see what you want me to stop?
No, I want to get a word in edgewise. Yes, please see what you can do, because I would very much enjoy driving one of those around my track with that 3D custom chassis and the vac formed blue and yellow Irwin body, and you guys are racing it. I would get a kick out of having my own.
I'll see what I can do for you, Greg. I'll talk to Andrew, and failing that, we'll build one up for you.
We'll make it happen.
Yep, not a problem. All right. All right. I think I've gone on enough. Get out your way.
Moving on. Marco has his hand up. Oh God, well, there goes the next 15 minutes.
Hey, Marco.
Oh God, really? That's my fame now? Jeez.
No, it's not 53 minutes, but
it's just very quick. I just picked up Andrea at the airport. He's here. He's going to participate on a race. And I want to make 2 invitations for you guys. If you can come on Friday at 5:30 on the dot, we're going to have a live conversation with Andrea. He's going to talk about the future of the slot car racing in Italy. He's going to talk about what we're doing here, and he's going to present a new model that freaking Jim Rose just showed up to everybody because he found a leaked picture of it. Supposed to be a surprise. Thank you very much, Jim. You're not here, right? You're hiding, right, Jim?
It's not Jim's fault. It was already leaked before Jim got
but he made a
anywhere
video
near
out of it. He could hold a little bit. Anyway, it was leaked picture. It's a new Lola. I bet you guys saw it. The car will be here. He's also bringing a second version that you guys don't know about it. So there's 2 versions of the car, and he has a working prototype that we're gonna test on the track. So if you're available at 5:30 Pacific time on Friday, we're gonna have this live conversation with Andrea. And then during the weekend we have the Western Championship, which is we're gonna have around 48 racers. It's a big race, the same format we do the Slotted Nationals. So the whole broadcast, 14 cameras, Mark interviewing people, and Ian and Doug from Magnetic Racing, they're coming from the UK just to comment. So it's going to be very fun if you're not doing nothing, qualifying on Saturday. and the full race on Sunday if you guys have time. So it's not 53 minutes, just a small invitation.
So I know you're talking to a whole bunch of people that know what you're talking about, but you never said NSR in any of that. So for
okay.
those
Sure.
who are
No, then the
don't-
NSR Western Championship. Yeah. So that's the name of the race.
what's happening at friggin' Electric Dreams this weekend, it's the
Yeah,
NSR
there you go.
installs.
I'm gonna hire Greg as a PR. There you go. Give the service. Give the service.
Yeah, and the Andrea that he was talking
that'll
about is
fucking
Andrea Noviello, who's the CEO of NSR.
Yeah, so Andrea Noviello is the CEO of NSR, son of Salvatore Noviello. He is the guy who takes care of the whole company, as a CEO should be. So he just arrived here in LA. He's going to participate in this race. I think next weekend he's going to Michigan to participate on the East version of this race. Here at Electric Dreams, you guys know that we have a YouTube channel and we have a podcast called Track Call. Some of you guys already participate, Dennis, Greg. And on that podcast, we're going to have a live show with Andrea at 5:30 on Friday. And that where he's going to show his new model, his new mold, his new tool for 2025, which Jim Rose just leaked the pic.
Okay, you said that already, and I muted you because otherwise I can't get a word in edgewise. Yes, Andrea will be there showing off his new car this Friday at Electric Dreams. Watch it live. Let's give Courtney a few minutes before the end of the live stream. Go ahead, Courtney.
Well, I don't usually talk about a lot of racing, but because Dennis is here, I think Dennis knows this original member of Team Bula. How do I share my screen? Where is that?
You click the share button down at the bottom, pick what you want to share, and then click the share button.
Talking about Gil Gunderson, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Where is? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we had a flexi car race up in Nashville, Murfreesboro. The big handsome guy finished first, but Gil, can you guys see that right?
No, you didn't click the final share button.
Oh, sorry. Share. Oh, there it is. All right, how about that?
That's
there we
better.
go.
So
Good old Gil.
Gil is 83. Wally, I think, is 76 or 7. So
And you look like you're 58.
That
I am.
hot
I'm
age.
50. I'm 57, going on 12. But I just thought it was interesting that he had his original Team Bula pit thing, and the reality of it is he's 83. He's 77. I think I beat Wally by 3 or 4 laps, and I beat Gil by 5.
Yeah.
These guys, they still outqualified me and beat me in DTM. But anyhow, a lot of fun, good guys.
Oh yeah.
That's all I really. That's all I
Gil,
really had.
Gil was a wing car racer most of his career.
Yeah.
Because back in those days there wasn't much else. But Gil actually worked for John Thorpe at the pit shop in Pasadena, and he was
right.
the guy
He told us.
he was the guy who actually used to balance the armatures for Thorpe that they were winding back in those days, the early 1960s. They're a really good builder. He used to run retros with us as well, did Gil, and he builds really nice stuff and he drives really well. So yeah, a good old guy.
Yeah, he's fast. It was fun, and I took my 12-year-old with me, and he and Gil just kind of hit it off. So that's all I really had. I don't know where the stop screen button is. So you might have to help me out with that, Greg. Thank you.
There you go.
All right, Marco.
Anyhow, that's all I had.
Sorry, I had to mute you. You started repeating yourself, and I had to say give somebody some more time. No, Marco, He's all angry at the
Mark,
camera.
I relinquish the floor to the honorable gentleman from Electric Dreams.
From California.
Yeah,
Remember,
go ahead.
California has the floor.
If there's anything, I'm not going to be there for obvious reasons, but if I was down there, I absolutely would.
Did you guys see the track call interview that Marco did with Jimmy Attard, the guy in Michigan,
Detroit,
who has that massive?
I just watched it. It's really, really good. Really good.
Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. That it's Jimmy was one of the pioneers of that system of running two cars in one lane using alternating current.
D2 car.
You did your little parking lot track.
Yeah, my little parking lot tracks like that. Yeah, or it can be like
cool.
that. Yeah.
No, I have not.
Great interview.
We'll watch
But
that.
I mean that track, Michael will tell you, if you haven't seen the video, you should watch it because it's just
You need to turn that off,
amazing
Mom's
the
phone.
amount of scenery and detail on that. How does
sure.
that one has all kinds of lane changing too that I'm not quite sure how that works. I think is it mechanical, Marco?
Oh, let me unmute myself. Yeah, it's mechanical, but it's kind of weird the way it works. It's there to amuse him. It's not like to make like a proper race. And he says several times that it's not a race. He's like a model or something. It's lot head, he says. So it has just a few lane changes. They don't you can use all the lanes if you're not in the correct lap. It's not the lane change is not to use the correct racing line. Is just to go around the track. Let's say this way. So it's not like racing driven. It's just more like amusement kind of thing. And he has like some lights. He has some buttons on the driver station. So if you press one, you have like a yellow flag, and everybody goes slowly. Or there's another one. If you press it, there's a lot of lights on the track that starts to blink, and then you need to go. If you go after the delta, your lap don't count. It's a lot of little tricks. You have to be there for a long time to learn everything he has. But it's very nice to see the passion of the guy putting everything together. And if you see, I don't think that the pictures that we took, like, it's good enough. But if you go below, there's like things going on underneath. It has like almost like a floor with lights and decorations going on that he can access in only one way. It's crazy. We stayed there for almost like 5 hours on a Sunday, and it's crazy. I still have a lot to see and learn from there.
I think the track calls interviews are just getting better and better and better every time. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to don't overpass the guest. And we have a bunch. We have like at least 12 already made. We have one with Oliver from Professor Motor. We have one with Robert Bernhardt. I have one with Stuart Colford ready to go. I have I'm forgetting people now, but I have one with Steve from Slot Car Corner. I have one with Matt from CG Slot Cars. There's like 12 or something ready to go. We're gonna shoot another one with Andrea, not the live one, but a proper interview, because the first one was the very first one we did like 2 years ago, and we lost some tape. We had to cut short in 20 minutes. So we have a lot of, and plus we have special guests coming, like people from Real Racing that vouch for us always. But yeah, we're gonna try to release once a week. We're gonna be closed down in January, so that's why I have so many in my drawer here ready to launch. But thank you for the comment.
Good stuff. Yeah, subscribe to Electric Dreams YouTube channel if you're not already.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and to the email that you can get from them every week. Well, almost every week.
Yep. All right. I'm going to end the stream. So everybody wave bye until next week. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, guys. How many people in the store, Marco? Lots.